YouTube. Today on the Naughty Librarian, I am doing a book haul of all the books I got at the Festival of Books. In my previous video, I did a vlog of all of my adventures at the Festival of Books, but I did not talk about all of the awesome books I ended up scoring at the festival. So I want to talk about them in this video. I have like 30 books because I kind of went overboard at the festival. So in the interest of not making this book haul like a billion years long, I'm just gonna like bust through these books. Let's go. First up, I have When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon. And I got to meet her at the festival, and she signed my book, and she was adorable in person. She's really nice, and I'm super excited to read this. It's kind of a romantic comedy set in an Indian American family, and I am like totally down. It's really hypey right now, and I'm like really interested in reading it. Next up, I have Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I didn't plan on buying it, but then I saw it at the festival, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy it. Like, who am I kidding? It is a mystery, and it is kind of like a thriller, problem-solving teen, and she's trying to solve an old, cold case mystery, and it sounds twisty and turny and juicy, and I'm very excited. Next up, I have The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. And again, this is another book that I did not plan on buying, but then I got to the festival and I'm like, who am I kidding? I'm obviously gonna buy this book. The gist of this, it's like a way scarier Hocus Pocus. There's like these three witch sisters and they got killed and then they come back to life and possess people. It sounds amazing and the cover is gorgeous. Next up, I have Autonomous by Annalee Newitz. I'm super interested in this book. I have heard about it a few times, but I did not own it. But of course, I go to the festival, I'm just gonna buy more books. It's about like robots and hackers and the future. Of course, I'm gonna read this. It looks really amazing. The cover is awesome, so I'm down. Next up, I have I Believe in a Thing Called Love by Maureen Gu. So I mentioned this book before that I got it at a different festival and it was already autographed, but like it wasn't autographed to me. So I really wanted to meet Maureen Gu. I will talk more about this book in my March wrap up. Next up I have In Search of Us by Ava Delara. This is her new book and it is kind of like a dual story from a mother's perspective and the daughter's perspective when they were both 17. And she writes these stories that give me like the deepest cathartic cries. So I'm like so in, because sometimes you just need a good cry. Can you believe that I got The Trials of Apollo Book 3, The Burning Maze by Rick Riordan 2 weeks early at this festival? What? Oh my gosh, I got this early. I freaked out that I got it early. I got to meet Sherilyn Kenyon. I am still like so excited about it because she's one of my favorite authors and I've read like so many of her books. I wouldn't say all of them because she has like a lot of books, but I've read like the majority share. I think I actually talked about this book in my Book Boyfriends video because Ren is the rare sort of male lead because he was a virgin. The men are never virgins and he was, so this is like a special book for me. And she signed my book and I was so excited and she was really lovely and like she gave a thumbs up to my boyfriend. So Sherilyn Kenyon has like exceeded expectations on every level. She's an amazing writer and she's really sweet in person. And like, I'm just freaking out that I met her. Next up, I have First Grave on the Right by Dorinda Jones. But this is like a paranormal romance urban fantasy thing and I'm like, this is kind of a book I've been wanting to read anyway and I could get it for free, so I was like, yes please. It's like a private detective who's like also the Grim Reaper. Like, I don't need to know anymore, that's just a great premise. Just because I want you guys to be able to see this clearly, it's a knight riding a dinosaur. Like, I have no idea what it's about, but it's a knight riding a dinosaur. Like, like I'm not gonna get this for free. Like, what? Next, I have The Princess Playbook by Pamela Dumond. This is about like a royal family and they're broke, and so they're trying to like marry off this, or they're selling their prince to marry this girl whose her dad has a lot of money, and then there's like mistaken identities, and both brothers are like in love with the same girl, and it's like love triangles in capers and princes in biker bars. So I don't know, I'm excited. I'm hoping it's full of smutty delights. Speaking of smutty delights, I also have Sleeping Dragons by Ophelia Bell. This is a paranormal romance. It's dragon shapeshifters, and I don't read a lot of books about dragons, so I'm like, I should change that, because what's wrong with me that I don't read books about dragons? Except these are like dragons who turn into hot dudes who like bang a bunch of ladies, so I mean, it's not gonna make it worse, it's just gonna make it better. So this is kind of an interesting concept. This is The Trouble with Grace by Jen LeBlanc. This is an illustrated romance. So I know there is a woman on the cover, but I believe this is also a male-male romance, because a lot of the images in here are of male-male romance scenes. Ooh, those two dudes are gonna do it. Like, there's full page like art all throughout the book, and like, I'm kind of really fascinated by the idea of an illustrated romance. Like, that's such a cool idea. This is another new author that I found at the festival. This is Borderline by Michelle Baker. This blurb sounded super cool. It's got like fairies and urban mystery, paranormal, probably some romance too, and I'm like into it. It sounded like a gritty, like fairy crime story. I'm like, that sounds awesome. I also was lucky enough to get Even by Gretchen McNeil. It's like about a bunch of girls, and they're all part of this club where they just take revenge on people. Like, don't get mad, get even. So it sounds cool. I love all of her books. They're kind of like twisted in ways, and I love it. They're juicy and twisted. They're great. So these are a couple of free books I got from the RWA booth, which is the Romance Writers of America booth. And this one is Forever a Father by Lynn Marshall, and this one is The Texan's Wedding Escape by Charlene Sands. These aren't necessarily books I genuinely read very often, but you know what? I was thinking the other day, I don't read any cowboy books, and cowboys is like a whole romance genre. So I was like, hey, you know, kismet, it kind of fell into my lap. Speaking of romance novels, here are two more free books I got. This is The Fixer and The Enforcer, both by Helen K. Diamond. And I'm really into these. They're kind of like contemporary urban like thrillers. I don't know, I'm kind of into it. They're totally gonna be like alpha male dudes, and they're gonna have smutty delights. I mean, look at the cover. These are gonna be smutty AF, so I am down. The last free romance book I got was Not Quite Crazy by Catherine Bybee. It's like romantic comedy, like girl, I think she gets in a car accident with this hot guy, and they're like, ooh, sparks, and she's like, oh no, you're my boss, and then like, they do it. So, I don't know, those are kind of books like I'm trash for, like I love them. Oh my goodness. I went to a bargain book tent, and this was $5. $5! Your girl is a huge drag fan. Not just Drag Race, drag in general, because I also love my local queens. But hey, RuPaul's book for $5? Hell yes, why would I ever say no to that? I was so excited that Saba Tahir was gonna be at this festival because she never comes to Los Angeles, and she was finally gonna be here, so there was no way in hell I wasn't gonna meet her. It's just a gorgeous series, and it's so intricate, and the characterizations are amazing, and I cannot sing the praises of this series enough. And I know the third book comes out soon too, so super exciting. Also, side note, follow me on Twitter because I actually have extra copies she signed for me, so I can do giveaways. Yay! I want to share this book with so many people because it is amazing. I was at the festival, and I looked over, and I saw Catherine Cotteris. BT Godfred, he was telling me about this book and how I should read it, and I was like, well, it's like fate, I should go buy this and read it. It's about a girl who like is very type A, she plans everything, and then everything falls apart, so she has to figure out who she is without all of her plans, and those are like totally stories I'm trash for. I also got The Final Move by Victoria Denault. I don't know if it's Denault or Denault, but I've been saying Denault, and she didn't correct me when I met her, so The Final Move is a continuation of her hockey romance series, and I've already read Making a Play, and this is like the sequel to it. In my March wrap-up, I will talk about Making a Play because I did read it this month, and I'm gonna continue on the series. I am intrigued enough, and I'm like kind of into hot hockey dudes. Like, why would I not be into hot hockey dudes? I mean, have you seen the cover? Like, I kept hearing about Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi, and it seems funny and kind of like at times it's gonna get you in the all of the feels, and it's totally the kind of book I want to read. Also, the cover is just gorgeous, and I heard she was gonna be doing a panel with Amy Spalding, the author, and I was like, oh, it's like I need to buy this book because she's gonna do a panel with Amy. Obviously, I need to buy it. So it was a lot of fate at play here. I'm excited to get into this one because I think it's gonna be like a surprise hit. So last up, I got Wild Animus by Rich Shepherd, and I know literally nothing about this book. I was leaving the festival on Sunday, and this guy wearing a top hat came up to me and he's like, do you want a book? And I was like, all right. And he handed me this book and I left. I mean, if a man in a top hat comes up to you and says, do you want a book? Like, you take the book. What kind of festival would it be if there wasn't swag? And I got a whole bag of swag. I just want to show off the bag for a second because it says #StrongWomenRead, and I'm like all about it. This is one of the nicest tote bags I've gotten at a festival, so like, hello. So I'm not gonna go through everything in this bag because that's gonna be like ridiculous, so I'm just gonna show off like the cool stuff. So I got these hats. Sherilyn Kenyon gave me this hat. It's in regard to Urian, who's one of the characters in her Dark Hunter series. It's like a Spartan foam helmet. It's ridiculous looking, but I was like, if Sherilyn Kenyon wants to give me anything, I will literally take it. Like, why would I ever say no to her? She's amazing. Also, I got this amazing fan. I do know it's a piece of paper glued to a stick, but like, this is pretty. There was a Jane Austen Society booth and they had Jane Austen fans, and it's like pretty. And it came in handy a lot this weekend because like, oh man, it was so hot. And I was just like walking the festival, fanning myself, and it was like, I couldn't live without it. Last cool piece of swag was this awesome poster from Shatterby by Tahara Mafi. It says, I spent my life folded between the pages of books. I have no idea if you can even see this because it's all metallic and there's lights, but if you can see it, that's what it says. All right, that was as fast as I could get through this book haul because there were so many books. There was more books than I remember there being. I mean, overall, that's a good thing. It means I got a lot of books. It means I got like my trip's worth because it was free, so I didn't really get my money's worth, but I got my trip's worth because I went 2 days. So, you know, overall, success. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books, which ones are your favorites and least favorites. I want to know what you think. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like, and if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!